I'm going to share with you the 5 fitness gadgets that have changed my training and how I train my clients. But I've gone through dozens of gadgets that are collecting dust somewhere in the house, including this, which I'm embarrassed to say. My philosophy is nothing wrong with trying something and seeing if it adds any value to your life, investing in your health, and sometimes those investments don't pay off. So if one of these gadgets does add any value to your life and your fitness journey, then that's a mission accomplished. If you're new here, my name is Laith. I'm a trainer and gym owner, and over the past 2 decades, I've coached hundreds and hundreds of people in the areas of fitness and longevity based on science and some guessing. Okay, let's start with the first one. And I have to say I was skeptical on this one in the beginning, but when I tried it, then it became a big part of my life. And it did change my daily routine to the better. It's simply called a health tracker, and there's so many different types out there, and I'll tell you the ones that I've tried. So I originally started off taking or using the Whoop. I don't know if you can see that. This is what the Whoop looks like, not focusing, but it doesn't do anything. It's not a watch or anything, but it basically tracks your health, your steps. Actually, I don't think it tracks steps. Your heart rate, your HRV, which is your heart rate variability, and a whole bunch of other things. And I moved from this because it was a subscription-based model, and you would pay, I forget what it is, but probably like $30, $40 a month, which adds up at the end of the day. And then I got a Apple Watch as a gift, and I started to use that, and it was quite useful. But the problem with this is that it's a somewhat delicate, so I moved on to the Garmin, and this is the one I use. It is, I think, the Phoenix 7, and it does cover all the bases that I need, and that's what it looks like. And I like this because there's no subscription to it. The interface is somewhat customizable, and it is comfortable to wear, and it is very versatile. So I've knocked this around quite a few times, bars have hit it, and it has survived with a few scratches, but I like this. And the reason why this changed a lot of things for me was for the simple reason that it tracked my steps. And I went from going 4,000 to 5,000 a day, upwards of 10,000 on average, and I've been doing that for close to a year now, without missing a day of not going above that. It is good to do that because you're able to track what you're doing, and when you see it visually, it makes a difference. So I would probably recommend a tracker for most people because you start to realize how inactive you are during the day. So the second one that I use quite often is a grip machine, and you basically can get these off of Amazon for like $20. And I use this quite a bit for clients because I use it as a benchmark test for them to see over time if it improves or not. And why is that important? For 2 reasons. The first one is that there's a correlation between grip strength and health, and there's a correlation between grip strength and recovery rate. So if your grip strength is high, then your recovery rate is usually high for that day. Now, if you have a benchmark, and it's very simple to use, when you turn it on, press start. So that's what it shows. I don't know if you can see that, but it gives you how much pounds or kilos that is your grip strength. And once you have a benchmark, if you do this before you work out and you find that it's dropped significantly, then you know that you haven't recovered for that day. So I highly recommend one of these. And it's fun to go around the gym challenging people for grip strength, which is always fun to walk up to strangers and ask them to grip something. The third thing that I have used quite a bit is the Slant board, and the Slant board helped me with my recovery and my rehab when it came to my bike injury, which I busted up my knee quite badly. And it allowed me to start to increase the range of motion on my knee and kind of build my strength at the end ranges, which was critical for me to be able to go back to playing football or jiu-jitsu or anything like that. It allowed my knee to be as strong as possible within that range that I had. And you can use this for so many other things, and one of the things I enjoy is because my ankles, I don't have a lot of mobility in them, it eliminates your ankles having to go into any flexion because you can get that depth without having to use that ankle, especially if there's a restriction. But it's versatile that you can use it for other things like Poliquin step-ups, and you can even use it for split squats as well. The fourth thing that I use quite often, especially for me, and especially after my injury with my shoulder, or my neck that affected my left arm where I couldn't generate any power from, and there was numbness happening because there was a compression in my root canal. So I started using this, and it kind of looks like a S&M toy. So you have a chain here that you put weights to, and you can start to load up, or side to side, whatever it is. But why is this important? Because most people have very weak necks, and especially with our modern day activities, that most people are on a phone or on the computer where they're pushing their neck forward. So the muscle is stretched out and it becomes very weak. So eventually you start to have problems with your spine, which starts to affect your arms and other limbs. And this, I find, has helped quite a bit. And there's a number of different ways that you can do these, but doing this 2 to 3 times a week helps build up that muscle again and kind of keep the neck in a healthy position where you don't hurt yourself down the road. And the last one that I have, would I highly recommend for most people and has changed a lot in my life, are minimalist shoes. And there's a number out there, but I started off with the Vibram 5-finger one, where you see the fingers in there. And then eventually I moved onto the Vivo Barefoot, which you see quite a bit of now. They're extremely versatile in that sense, and you'll notice there's no cushioning and there's no elevation on the heel. So they're minimalist in that sense, where it's just protecting you from the elements pretty much. But then I've soon moved on to the Zero shoe with an X. Although they are uglier in my opinion and they don't have many options, but I find them to be a lot more comfortable than the other ones and a lot more versatile where they don't rip. But I also do a lot of running in my Minimalist, or my Jesus slippers, as some people have called them. I've done quite a bit of running in these, where you can see they've already been worn out quite a bit. I've had these for over 10 years now and they are still going along. But these are important because it allows your foot to be better. And I'm not going to talk about barefoot running or anything like that at this point, because it's another long topic to get into. But I would highly recommend starting slowly go into that. When I say slowly, it should take a better part of a year to kind of transition into barefoot shoes and barefoot running in general, so you don't hurt yourself. So those are my 5 fitness gadgets that I've added a lot of value to my life and my clients as well, where I've recommended them. Post yours if you have any gadgets that you really enjoy and use quite a bit in terms of your health and wellness. And like always, if you found this useful or entertaining, give me a thumbs up, or dare I say, maybe even subscribe to my channel and make my day. YouTube seems to think that you will like this video over here. It does look interesting. I would press on it and watch it. It might add some value to your life. Until next week, enjoy and stay active.